Williams. Make sure to check us out on Facebook and YouTube /WGLNA. And as always, go ahead and follow us on Twitter @WGLNA so you guys can stay up to date on what's happening in the community around you. And also, you guys can answer the question of the day.
How excited are you for Season 3?
Yeah, super excited. That is my answer. David?
Season 2.
I'm
also excited for Season 3, though.
Yeah, Season 3 is going to be awesome, but right now, Season 2 is what I'm super excited about. Congratulations are in order to Caller Wanted for winning that last battle. They are our final team to make it into the Season 2 Gold Leagues. TBD has been kicked out, so best luck if they come back next year. So right now, for these next matches, David, as my understanding, these are for seeding, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so this is for the seeding of when the season 2 starts, and right now it's going to be Yo versus Caller Wanted. Now, I mean, this isn't really, I guess, come into play a lot, but this is something that we don't usually see during the normal seasons. It's a team playing twice, in one night, and especially going back to back. Do you think that's going to, are we going to see
potential to play more than that? Well, they will play more than that, 3, maybe 4 times.
That's true. That's true.
So this, what's at stake in this match in particular is who is 3rd seed. And it also determines who is at least 2nd seed, because there is a chance they can take all the way over for 1st. So Yo could win this and then go beat Ping99 2 times and take 1st seed out of these guys.
Wow.
Which is, what? 9th seed overall, right?
Okay.
No, 10th seed overall. And then there's 11th and 12th below them. So it's a long uphill climb for what might be important to some people. If I were in their shoes, I'd probably be evaluating a lot of who I would be matched against according to normal bracketology if I got certain seeds.
Sure.
And that would be interesting to know right now on my end. But some of these teams may actually want to be 2nd seed out of this whole thing and not 1st. I don't know. It depends on who you play.
There could be some crazy minds.
Honestly, when you get into the regular season, just play your best, and your seed won't really matter in the end because you're going to play everybody no matter what.
Yeah,
just depends on how quickly you play them.
You got to play them all once. I mean, we kind of saw, again, talking just a little bit, not too much about Season 1. Noble, in the interview with Comps, he said how they struggled at the beginning of the season because they played some of those higher seeds, but they came back and they won the champion.
So that's a good point. I mean, if you have to square off, and all these guys are going to square off against relatively high seeds early, which is why I was kind of like, I don't know if it's going to matter so much.
But it's just going to happen.
It does. If you're trying to find your legs and you're playing the higher teams first, it's not going to help.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is for the seeding. It is Yo versus Caller Wanted. We're back on Ruinberg. Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
So, Yo with 215Bs, 2 E5s, 50B, 140, and a T54 lightweight. Caller Wanted with 2 E5s, and IS7, 2 140s, and 2 54s.
Tasty pastry. Welcome back.
It's infinitely amusing to me how similar 215B and 250B sounds.
Oh, yeah. We can't say that one quickly.
Pretty sure you already said that tank.
250B,
They're different tanks, I promise. Just read. I know you don't want to.
Just read. Hashtag the truth.
This is an interesting start for Yo. Shoving to very, very overweight the F-road.
Wow.
They will have to rotate back to protect the northern cap as Caller Wanted is barreling down pretty hardcore. They're going to send a number of mediums there, but there are better angles for Yo to light them up as they cross.
One True taking a lot of damage there, getting dropped just barely above half health depth. Getting everyone actually is getting tracked here on the side of Caller Wanted. Yo doing a fantastic job focusing all these members as they make the cross. There is cap pressure being applied for Caller Wanted. 45 seconds is on that cap, but Bobby taking down Death Rattle. Immediately that tank has fallen. 25 seconds on the clock. Yo now has to make it to get the resets where they can. Fixer actually does take down Chai Sniper in that 50B. 20 seconds on the clock now as the rest of Yo now coming across the side, trying to find the shots where they can. Lost that Levin feeling, taking down One True. 12 seconds on the clock. Yo now have to turn their attention to the cap. They cannot miss these shots. Full cross, looks like he's the one to try to get the reset. Taking the shot, just taking his time. He has 5 seconds to find it. He finds it on a patient zero, dropping it back to 20 seconds. A fantastic reset, and that should buy them all the time that they need because Ajax is on the side as well as Lost in that 5B. More resets coming through. Bobby now doing his best to deal with Lemming and renamed. Caller Wanted having 5 members on the board against the 6 of Yo, but Caller Wanted does still have that HP lead, and they're increasing it as Patient Zero taking down Bobby, Rename User actually taking down Full Cross, and it looks like they might be turning this one around. 25 seconds on the clock. Yo down to 4 members. 5,400 points of HP, but again, it has switched. They are now in the lead. Lemming Rush is extremely close to dying. One more shot, he'll be going down there. Del fighting with Fixer Reloaded and Patient Zero against Ajax. Tasty Pastry taking down Lemmings from the side, freeing up those 2 members of Yo, and this might be that could have been the straw that broke the camel's back for Caller Wanted, as they're just going to push into these 3 remaining members and take them off. But Fixer not wanting anything to do with that, takes down a kill, and a pans, taking down Patient Zero. 5 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock. Ladies and gentlemen, that all happened within the first 3 minutes of the battle. We are down to 2 tanks for Caller Wanted, 3 tanks for Yo. Antipan's taking down Del. Just Fixer Reloaded remains, and it looks like Yo is going to pick up this first victory, but it is a close victory indeed. One more shot, and it's going to be Lost That Lovin' Feeling, taking down Caller Wanted. Yo picking up the first victory there. On to Ruinberg. That opened up extremely quickly. I mean, right off the bat, Yo made a very aggressive push toward that F road, saw that they were getting pushed by Caller Wanted, turned and was able to deal with it in an amazing way.
That's one of those things where it certainly worked this time around. I'm wondering if it can work because it's tier 10. It definitely would not work repeatedly at tier 8, maybe once, maybe twice. But maybe. It's an open place that can be fired at from 2 angles. So if the offending team knows that you're going to do that or suspects it, they can very easily turn that around on you. But as it was, there's a strip of land as you approach that kind of A6 area where the land starts to increase. And the people that are crossing go behind it. So you don't have a very good shot on them. As they came down to the west, they actually opened up the angles and are able to fire at a larger angle, a larger distance of those tanks as they try and cross.
Really?
TLDR, if you're trying to shove across the A line and there's a bunch of tanks there, you're far more likely to get lit up.
Wow.
And it's risky because if all those tanks stopped and just fought you, you're in the open. And if there's anybody in the F road, they can help. And it can all start kind of going back.
Which we saw.
At tier 10, they can absorb a certain amount of damage from there. Obviously, their 50B bit the dust in penalty for that. But he did get his shots out. So, well, no, he did. He got 4 out. Just only made a connection for 709, player with a little bit of a dig at a fellow clan Chai Sniper. It's, you either know what it is or you don't.
I don't.
I'm not going to weigh in on it.
So we're all good.
Dangerous territory.
So with the 50B, one thing I just want to talk about in comparison to, say a 1390 or a 5100, you talked about with the 6 shots, hitting 5 of the 6 is what you said was good. 5 out of the 6 shots of a 5100, you're like, I'm okay with that if you're a captain. In the 50B, what is that ratio? Is it all 4? Is it 3 out of the 4? Is it 2 out of the 4?
In a 50B, I would say all 4 of your shots need to hit the target, and I'm not entirely sure. May be able to accept 1 bouncing, but it does reload very fast, so that rule's not as firm.
Sure.
And it's more accurate, which is why you have to hit more, but it reloads faster, so you can afford to sling them and not hit them.
This is a great
It's
improvement.
just, it depends. The rule still applies in some situations and not others, but it's much more loose with the 50B.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are into the battle. Yo versus Caller Wanted. Yo up 1-0, still same sides. Let's see what we got for our teams.
So Yo with two 15Bs, 2 E5s, 1 50B, 140 and a T54 lightweight. Caller Wanted with 2 E5s and IS-7, 2 Object 140s and 2 T54s.
All right, and the Caller Wanted, I mean, obviously they're not doing the same thing as before. I don't know if they're scared of what Yo could do. You said,
it didn't work.
Didn't work.
Didn't work, and unless you know the answer to it immediately,
just don't.
You probably shouldn't do it again. But I don't know if this one's any better.
There's only one way.
That's a lot of weight.
There's only one way to find out here. We have Caller Wanted about to clash head-to-head with Yo. Tasty Pastry on Depons, a 140 and a T54 lightweight against 2 140s and a T54. But they have that support from the Delta Village. The question is, will it be enough? One true. Now we're pushing up, taking some shots, but nothing connecting there. And the rest of Caller Wanted now grouping up over on this eastern side. Yo has realized this. They are now starting to reposition. But with these 2 members down the K0, they might cause a little bit of a problem. Will Caller Wanted be able to deal with them in a timely manner? Will they take too much damage for it? 24 seconds is on the clock. 3 members of Caller Wanted have gone down a huge chunk of damage. They're going on to 1 true, getting dropped to below half, and that 140 on Depon's down below half himself. Looks like very even exchanges. They're going back and forth. The HP is relatively close. Oh, here we go, though, coming up on top. Rename taking a lot of damage for just poking up for a second. Try and take down and finish off one of these 2 tanks there. not quite have enough damage. They're going to try again. Fixer reload him. In the meantime, having a fight over in Delta Village. One True taking down Tasty Pastry. That's the first tank falling in the game. That is on the side of Yo. One True taking down Andy Pants as well. A double kill in that K0 area. Meanwhile, Delta Village now being punished by Caller Wanted. Yo now freed up, Yo now not being freed up in that K0 position, are stuck here with these 4 tanks, and actually all 5 are in this Delta Village area. Lost that love feeling. He's getting extremely low in that 5B. A couple more shots, he'll be going down. Bobby doing his best to take down as much damage onto Patient Zero as you can. He, though, is one shot himself. Caller Wanted looks like they're in the driving seat, but Yo doing a good job doing a lot of damage onto Caller Wanted as they push him. A renamed user taking down Lost. That 5B dropping is going to be hard. Bobby, though, taking down Lemming, doing their best to stay in this back and forth exchange there. 4,300 on the side of Yo, 4,300 on the side of Caller. I mean, it is still very even as far as HP go, and Chai Sniper taking on Death Shakes, but Patient taking down Bobby. Chai now being surrounded from the back by Fixer. Chai takes another one down. He's now turning his turret. Looks like he's just going to get out of there. I'm not sure if he has a shot in there or not. Fixer hugging him as close as he possibly can. Rename user, though, coming in from the side, and that is going to be a 50B down. Chai goes down to Fixer with 4 tanks from the side of Caller and just 2 for Yo. It looks like Caller is going to be able to pick this one up. Patient taking down Full Cross, and once Ajax goes down, that is going to be Caller tying it up 1-1 against the team of Yo. Now, we talked about this is the battle. If Caller can come back and win this, then we have our 5th match of the night, because then Yo has lost 2, correct? Is this the one that determines that 5th match?
No. That's the battle after this.
Match number 4. Ladies and gentlemen, disregard what I say, as you probably do anyway. But that ties it up. Caller Wanted 1-1 against Yo. Now, Yo did a different thing there. They didn't, they didn't quite put as much pressure down the F road. They kept it more.
And Caller Wanted was this close to really closing it out, but they allowed those southeastern mediums to dance around, even though they had heavies able to fire on them that couldn't be shot by the rest of Yo's forces that were in the Delta Village. They had the perfect opportunities. They let those tanks stay alive too long, and it ended up costing them. I mean, they had it, and they just failed just a little bit. These are all little things that you have to play for a long time to learn, and you learn them the hard way. You get ruined in practice. You go back and you look at it, and you're like, oh man, all of this went wrong right here. And it was it was so one shot, and everything would have been fixed. But great play. This is so. When you were asking me earlier if there's anybody on these teams that I recognize or that I think I recognize, these are the 2 teams in particular that I thought. And in this case, Fulcrus is a name that I recognize. I couldn't tell you exactly why, but I do.
Okay. Seems familiar.
It's something from Clan Wars back then. And then Patient Zero is actually, I didn't notice him at first, and then I saw him start working, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember that guy. And I did some strongholds with him at one point, and I remember thinking, I believe he was driving a 1390 back then. I remember thinking he was legit and that he was a very good player,
really? And
that he should join the pro leagues. And apparently, here he is.
Hey, apparently he heard you.
That's exciting. No, I didn't tell him. I don't think I told him.
Oh.
I don't know.
Well, if you did.
Maybe I did.
There you go.
I tell a lot of people
you're
that.
You're an inspiration.
Honestly.
You should join the Pro League. You never told me.
You should try, at least.
You never told me that. But anyway, we're now going into our next battle. We are switching sides here on Ruinberg, the attack and defense now. Again, the positions have stayed the same. Yo versus Caller Wanted. Yo is now on offense. Caller Wanted is on defense. Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
So, for Yo, we have 2 E5s, a 62A, 2 140s, a Batchat 25T, and a T54 lightweight. For Caller Wanted, we have an FD215B, 2 E5s, an IS7, 2 140s, and a T54 lightweight.
All right, here. Now, looking, kind of, again, Caller Wanted just coming out of a battle, going against Yo, doing a good job so far, tying it up now 1-1. We talked early on, I think, in pre-show about how important, with these tier 10s, the opening positions are. It's harder to reposition. The mobility is not quite there as it was last season with those just not quite as heavy tanks. So far, on maps like this, it seems as if where Delta Village is a central point, it's easier for defense to kind of respond to what the team is doing, because it's not quite, it's not that full other side of the map. They can kind of go here, they can decide what they want to do, and then respond pretty easily. If what do you think would be the situation in which, like, okay, they're way too far pushed. Caller Wanted maybe is extended way Yeah, like the point of no return, I guess, is the question I'm asking in these tier 10 tanks. Of like, oh, it's just if you're this far, you're caught out, and your team is just going to take it.
Pretty close to it right now. This is a brilliant move on Yo's part, allowing Caller Wanted a lot more time, throwing off their timing and their kilter for this early scout. They're only leaving OTC to spot that. And last time it worked because they hadn't gotten too far down the zero line, but now they have a number of tanks way too far, and it's only Patient Zero and OTC really in position to do anything about it. Everybody else is going to be firing for the Delta Village area as Yo crosses, takes over the A6 through 8 area, and from here, it's an exercise in executing a very basic strategy, and if they do it, it's them all day. GG. 25 seconds left until they seal this victory.
Here we go. Fixer taking the first chunk of damage there. Yo doing a fantastic job mixing up a little bit, throwing off Caller Wanted, and let's see how Caller Wanted can respond here. 17 seconds on the clock. They got to find the reset, and they got to find it now. They're sending Splash and Lemming around the side, while Fixer and Rename coming up straight. Just going to try to get a single shot. I don't even know if they're going to be able to make it in time is the question. The IS-7, though, coming from across the courtyard is going to be up to Patient Zero, absolutely, to take this shot. Down to 2 seconds, now down to 1. Now it's at 0. Can Patient Shot take it? No, he doesn't. He hits it right in the side. Full cross, taking the damage there. It reset it just in time. A fantastic save there for Caller Wanted. And now One True coming in, finding as more reasons as they can because it is up to the clock. That is their biggest pressure right now. If they can neutralize it, they might be able to come back. But Chai Sniper taking out OTC. A nice pick there. T54 going down. 30 seconds on the clock. Patient Zero still and that IS-7 doing work onto the members of Yo who are on the base, but they have decided to give up the cap pressure. They see that they have an advantage here as far as tanks go, and they're going to try to push it. It is 6 tanks for Yo against just the 5 of Caller Wanted. Rename, though, getting surrounded by Yo. Rename user taking down, lost that love and feeling. Patient Zero still at full health. Chai Sniper finding Rename. 1-for-1 exchanges, but here comes the cavalry. Caller Wanted, Splash, and Lemming coming around the corner. They're taking down Taster Pastry. They want to bite. They've got a taste, and they want to see him down. Lemming Rush going to pick that one up. The object 140 is going to go. Full Cross taking down Death. The battle shakes. Now 4 tanks for Yo against the 3 for Caller Wanted. Patient Zero, though, going to tie it up 3-3, and Caller Wanted might be able to claim this victory. They have the HP lead. Can they close this out? Bobby taking a shot as he tries to retreat into Delta Village there, and a little bit of a reset as Patient and Lemming now hide back in this northern village. We've got Chai and Full Cross in a very odd position there. Splash doing some good damage from that northern cap.
There's no need to move here.
And Bobby in the Delta Village.
Bobby can get on that southern cap and start creating some pressure. It is a little bit uncomfortable for Fulcrus and Chai Sniper, but they do have enemy tanks or friendly tanks. Either way, they have Rex they can get kind of hauled down behind. They aren't in the best tanks for that, as that I don't think I can say the nickname for the Hatch, but as the Hatch is sticking up, it's very easy for the 140 in particular to hit it, but he is one of the lower shots there. Lemming Rush, that is. Splash not really playing aggressive enough. Patient Zero and Splash really need to be working Chai Sniper side to side in an attempt to get some good shots on him. He is exposing a lot of side turret over here for Splash to really get back into this, but Caller Wanted doesn't really have to provide the initiative here for as long as there's no cap pressure because they are on defense. So maybe I'm nitpicking a little bit. And they get the kill anyway,
Patient Zero.
What do I know?
There we go. Oh, yeah, you know what? We'll show you initiative. Chai Sniper taking some more damage there from Lemming Rush. Splash coming in the corner. Looks like he's aiming with that shot. Lets the shot fly. Takes it. 296 points of damage. Meanwhile, Bobby in that bad check coming around from the city. Looks like he's trying to flank Splash, but it's just not going to be in time. Splash finds Chai Sniper, and it looks like Caller Wanted is going to pick up this victory. Splash again, takes one, takes the turn, and takes down another member of Yo. Caller Wanted increasing their victory 2-1 now against Yo onto Ruinberg. And now we were talking about how awesome that was in the beginning. Just the kind of offset to kind of take that time, let the scout, say, nope, no one's here. They must be going to the east, and then push. Just kind of walk me through that again. Is that something that you can do multiple times? I mean, how do you test for that?
We'll get back to that in a second.
Okay.
Because we'll be able to talk about it in the actual match. I want to touch on 2 things real quick. Who got the reset?
Okay.
Still not entirely sure. Very potentially Death Rattle Shakes.
Huh.
Actually, no. He had 12 decent defense points, and Patient Zero had 77. So I'm going to give that to Patient Zero with a clutch reset there.
Ooh, right
Death Rattle
at the
Shakes
end.
was in position to get it as well, but between the two of them, they got the resets necessarily. On top of that, Patient Zero with 48-25 damage.
Hey, he's a new
and 2 kills.
Yeah, he's a new highest damage. Man,
So
record setting on
the
night.
opposite of the caster curse this time around. I point him out. Opposite of his beast game.
Yeah, season 2 is there's a lot more than just the tanks that have changed. Ladies
What
and
now,
gentlemen.
superstitious
It's
people?
now the caster blessing.
Yeah, until it's the curse again. Anyways, so we're talking about the how do you kind of test for that, and you don't necessarily.
Okay.
So it gets. I hate giving this answer, but it gets super complicated. In the northern area, you have to leave usually somebody who can kind of help patrol anybody who comes up the 6th line vertically, or across the F line horizontally, or across the AB line horizontally. You need somebody there, not just to spot them, but to do damage.
Okay.
Need, I'm using in kind of a loose term here. You used to need, maybe you don't now.
All right.
To be clear.
Right.
So as everybody moves down the east, you need to be able to make sure that you can hold and stop people long enough to get everybody else back. So you don't necessarily have to not spread them down the eastern side. You probably still do. You just need to make sure that you have an answer to get back there. And that way, if they push, that way, their timing's irrelevant. If they want to give you
Makes
time,
sense.
all they did was give you the east
Right.
to where you knew nobody was there, and you can still get back in time.
Okay.
So it's a
gotta play a
properly
little more
layered
safe.
defensive strat. We'll have answers and enough early warning to solve those problems. Now, perhaps in that situation, Caller Wanted did have those answers, and they just weren't immediately apparent to us, but it looks like they were slightly behind the ball, weren't 100% prepared for it. They got pulled out of a very tricky situation by Patient Zero.
All right, well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. A nice clutch there from that IS-7. We are back into the battle. Caller Wanted up 2-1 against Yo. Let's see if they can hold one more defense and make it 3-1, or if Yo can tie it up. Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
So, Yo with 2 E5s, 2 62As, 2 140s, and a T54 lightweight. Caller Wanted with a 1-2-15B, 2 T110 E5s, 1 IS-7, 2 140s, and a T54 lightweight themselves. Both teams making their initial movements. Pretty basic spread for Caller Wanted. Still not, I guess they're gambling here that Yo won't do the same thing they did last time, and Yo's just gambling that it's going to work this time. Except they're not even pausing to see if they can get Caller Wanted out of position. They're just going to do it, and they're going to do it right, and they're somehow going to win this. We'll see. We'll see. It's a questionable decision.
We will see indeed, as here comes the initiative enacted by Yo. But let's see if Caller Wanted can do a lot of damage to them as they cross. As we saw last match, that is definitely possible. The countdown has begun. 30 seconds on the clock. The northern cap pressure there going over for Yo. One True getting out of there with his life, and only not taking actually a lot of damage either. Rename user now, though, taking some damage from the center courtyard. 24 seconds on the clock. Delph coming over in that E5, looking for any sort of reset he can, and immediately Caller Wanted sending Lemming and Splash around the corner. But again, 17 seconds. It looks like it should be enough time for Lemming to get around that corner. That 140, definitely speeding up tank. Meanwhile, Rename and Delph taking some damage there from Tasty. Ajax and lost that from Yo. Doing a great job. 10 seconds on the clock, though. Here comes the reset from the back. A nice shot there from Lemming. Makes it in time. And now Yo is in a bit of a predicament. They need to get to this village now. They need to find the overmatch in this courtyard when they can before Caller Wanted can come catch up. And it looks like they're going to do their best. Chai Sniper taking down Renamed user. They're a tank falling for Caller Wanted, and here comes Lemming and Splash, so still at full health. Chai Sniper, another pickup there, doing a fantastic job in that E5, finding where he can. OTC in that T54, though, is extremely low. Fixer reload and taking down Lost. Chai Sniper with another one. That's 3 kills in a row, going over for that E5. Patient Zero, take it down, and depends. And now Caller Wanted has 4 tanks remaining for the side of Yo. That is 5. Yo has the HP advantage as well. They're turning this one right back around. Bobby, take it down. Fixer reloaded. And now just 3 tanks for Caller Wanted. It looks like Yo might be able to tie this one up. Ajax, though, 1,100 points of damage. Almost instantaneously going there on that 140. And Lemming Rush is going to finish him off. And the rest of Yo now collapsing down. They believe that they can fight this one. And they believe that they can come out on top. Let's see if that is true. Fulcros, Splash, Lemming Rush, Bobby, all wounded. Patient Zero coming in at pretty much full health. equal to Tasty Pastry. A lot of damage though
the
going on a
roll.
splash at once. One more shot, he would go down, but that goes as well for Fulcrum, and it's going to be Lemming taking up Chai Sniper with another kill. I believe that's 4 this entire match. Lemming and Patient Zero now doing their best to try to stay alive, trying to do the damage before Try makes it back in time. Bobby and Lemming, a brawl going through Tasty Pastry, gonna finish him off. Patient Zero now just by himself against 3 members of Yo, and ladies and gentlemen, it looks like Yo is gonna tie this up 2-2 against Caller Wanted here onto Ruin Moon. One more shot, and that will do it. Congratulations there. We're going on to the next match. Now,
Next map.
That time, next map. Now that worked out for Yo that time.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, like you said, they just dumped in for the overmatch in the other and the center when they had a 2-man flank.
Yeah.
Which I find a little bit questionable.
Okay.
I understand why, and you know it's because they are running two. Well, actually, no, I was wrong. So there's no reason they sent both two 140s over there. They didn't need to. One 140 would have been enough against anything they could have come across. And they knew where the locations of most of those tanks were, so it was just kind of overkill. They needed to keep one of those 140s back.
Yeah.
'Cause they, like I said, they'd already seen all 7. Now, there was a moment where Yo actually was starting to lose a lot of stuff. So most of Caller Wanted was driving right across the middle of the field, and Yo is very dedicated to building their cap points.
Right.
And cap is something you use, and if you're really, you use to force reactions.
Right.
That's how I view it. And if you're really going for a hard cap, sometimes that can come back and bite you big time. And in that case, it came very, 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 very close.
Really?
Had they done a little bit of cornering, they would have found a number of tanks wide open in the middle, just driving across, expecting them to stay bunkered down like that. And they would have been able to volley 3 tanks into the side of an E5. And that alone, one of those volleys, very unlikely they would have gotten the reset. Very likely they were going to get reset anyways, so the risk was completely acceptable. But that alone would have been able to close out Caller Wanted almost instantaneously. Like one tank at half health, a bunch of other tanks in good position. You've got them sandwiched between 2 locations. Step up and fight that corner. You don't need to stay so stick to the cap. Now, how they were able to get away from those 2 140s, I don't know. 140s not necessarily hitting their track shots. Nobody else hitting their track shots as they cross around. That's a situation where just doing damage is not your primary goal, because you need to keep them in the shot solution of the other guys who will do damage.
Okay.
So somebody needs to hit that track, and you really want to double track them and keep them there so you can pound on them with your flankers.
Which also would have not allowed Yo to then push over the courtyard, find the overmatch.
It's keeping everybody in an area where everybody can fight.
Yeah.
So in that case, I would have traded a 400 damage shot for a track shot any day of the week, because you're going to get that added damage from the 2 mediums.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, we're on to our next battle. It's tied up. Yo and Caller Wanted 2-2 going on to Mines. Yo is going to be on the offense. Caller Wanted on defense. Let's get right into it. Take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
Yo with 2 E5s, 2 62As, 2 140s, and a T54 lightweight. Caller Wanted with 2 E5s, 2 IS7s, 62A, and an Object 140.
We have
Cells.
a member missing.
We have a member missing. I was just looking at this like, how are they all tier 10s? Oh, somebody's missing.
From Caller Wanted.
That's unfortunate. Does not appear that we have a stoppage, I don't believe. So looks like it is
the
game on.
Game goes on.
That is unfortunately what happens if you do not ready up your people inside the allotted administration time. And that may seem brutal, but it's necessary, as other people can use that time to study your lineup. There's a lot of other reasons. Suffice it to say, it's not hard to be ready on time, so you better be ready on time.
Yeah.
And if it were a true disconnect, we would have a stoppage right now.
They just weren't ready on time, so now it is a 6v7. Yo, though, taking some punishment as they try to push him down the hill very aggressively. Chai Sniper getting dropped to below half health there in that E5. Rename doing a great job with a very aggressive push here, but here comes the rest of Yo barreling up the center with the rest of their 5 tanks who are sitting back. Tasty Pastry taking a lot of damage, and Bobby with the rest of his team. Beautiful focus fire. Rename getting absolutely deleted there at the end. Patient Zero getting backed off, and Chai Sniper taking down Splash. And this is what happens when you are 1 tank down right off the bat. Is absolute massacre. Yo may be down HP, but just slightly, and there you go. They immediately switched it, as I say. Patient Zero now taking, finally Tasty Pastry down, but he's going to go to himself. Andepans is going to take down Patient Zero, and now up on top of the hill, Fulcros. And Del fighting off. He's actually shooting low. One more shot. He'll go down. Del might be able to pick this one off the 62A. Does finish off that E5, but I'm not sure it's going to matter. One true Gonna go ahead and push down on Shy, Sniper, Ajax, finishing off Delph. It is 5 tanks for Yo against the now 1 for Caller Wanted, and that is just OTC there in the back in that IS-7. It is all over. A quick and unfortunate match they're going over for Caller Wanted, but congratulations to Yo for picking up another victory. And on offense on Mines.
Missing a tank is one thing. Offering up your E5 for ritualistic sacrifice in the beginning is another thing entirely. So that was pretty much Caller Wanted just deciding, nah, we'll let him have
they're
one.
like, we're not gonna even
we'll
try.
have one on defense.
Why
Why
not?
not?
We're not even gonna try this at all. That is it. That is the battle.
Something went wrong. Not sure.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll get that fixed for you guys next time. But for their sake, really not for you, the audience, but for the sake of the other team, fighting a 7-on-6 isn't fun indeed. Now, looking at you. Although it was a 7-on-6, we've seen, I remember in the qualifiers from last season, I've also seen, I think, maybe sometimes in the original season, early on in the beginning, where a 7-on-6 did not mean the game was over. And in fact,
no.
It actually, the team of the 6
wouldn't mean that this time either.
Yeah, but I wanted to
throwing an E5 out there.
Because I think we're done.
Different.
We're done.
And it certainly means something more at the beginning of a match as it does later. Now, if you've had everybody deploy to their starting positions and somebody gets vaporized, that maybe can be a bigger issue. But if the enemy team gets to deploy knowing that you only have 6 people right off the bat, then it's a definite advantage because you can change your lineup to it. You're like, well, they can't possibly be everywhere at once, so let's go find out. And then we'll just find where they are and put 7-on-6 and close it out.
Now, Caller Wanted, though, was also, they were on defense. So, is it still, why? I guess it's like, why would they throw that immediately?
No idea.
Because you totally,
no idea.
You totally could have a chance.
Idea.
You totally have a chance on defense. So
no good answer to it, man.
There's a victory for Yo going over. We're getting ready to go into our next battle.
I will say though, there's something strangely just hilarious to me about Andepans every time you say it. I feel like, I mean, this is knowing you a little bit.
Yeah.
And your tendency for accents and the like. But it always kind of feels like I hear it, and I just assume you're saying underpants in a funny accent. Like, oh right,
darn
it's the guy's name.
All right. Well, I will work on that indeed. Unless it's valued and loved by you guys, then I'll call him
good enough for me.
Andepans. And if you know what, if it makes you smile, that's fine. I'm gonna keep it. We got same sides as last time. We're going back into Mines. It looks like all 7 on both sides have readied up, so it will be a more even and fair battle this time indeed. But again, these teams have made it in. This is for seeding. It's also for 500 in-game gold. Pointing that out there again, just for people who are wondering, they are playing for something in this, as well as the importance of seeding in the beginning season. So we are now on to Mines. Yo versus Caller Wanted. Yo up 3-2 now against the defenders. Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
Yo with 2 E5s, 2 62As, 2 140s, and a T54 lightweight again. Caller Wanted with 2 E5s, 2 IS7s, 2 140s, and this time they decided to bring Delph the T54 lightweight. I would say that's a drastic improvement over their previous lineup.
Sure.
It's an increase of 1250 hit points.
Ooh. I'll do it. The question is, will they still sacrifice that E5? Only time will tell. Now Yo pushing up, and they're going for that hill push as well as Caller Wanted. Yo's actually just kind of sitting back. Look at this positioning here. Just setting up most of their tanks. They're only going to send 2 more, 5 sitting back, waiting for anyone to cross. Now, David, so far we haven't really seen, as far as Mines goes, a team go for this hard cross like One True and Lemming is going to. Will they get lit up? Lemming is getting lit up. 885 points of damage. That could have gone a lot worse there.
Yeah.
He got out of a horrible situation.
Yeah, I don't know how he's still alive, honestly. Those were a bit on target. So, see, I understand. See, now Renamed User has the middle here. So clearly last time as the match was starting out, he was like, hey, Fixer, mid or feed. Mid or feed. Fixer's like, nah, dude, I have mid.
Nah,
He's
bro.
like, all right, check it out. Just drives over the middle, dies.
Love it.
Nice and resolved now. Caller Wanted back in action. Lemming Rush getting a nice proxy spot on all these Yo players underneath. And it's going to be a little bit before we start seeing a lot of action develop here. Because this is something you just got to tap in. You just got to tap it in a little bit at a time. You can't force this hand.
No.
You come barreling over the middle of those IS7s.
Wow, Bobby, though.
It's going to be a bad day.
Bobby making that push to over for Delph, that T54. Must have got some information that he was over there. He's going to go try to 1v1. You got to be careful, though. Delph can just retreat back to actually the rest of the IS7s from Patient Zero Splash. Actually do not have a shot anymore on them. Yo, though, backing up, getting forced back even further. Tasty Pastry popping out, taking 705 points of damage there. Not a lot deep, but here we go. Bobby finding Delth, a huge shot coming from Lost That Lovin', and Tasty Pastry is going to finish off that tank. The T-54 has fallen. And now the cap push just for a second for Bobby has begun, but now we have a 62A coming around the flank. David, what is this going to mean for Color Wanted? I mean, how much of a threat is that?
Well, OTC's got to go head-to-head with Bobby. He could very likely win it, as he does now have 2 shots of additional damage. Actually, IS-7's Splash and Patience Zero dumping off to try and pick up these objects 140s and provide additional pressure. This is getting into a situation that is definitely tilting more and more in Yo's favor. For a moment there, Color Wanted had his chance, but it is fading quickly.
Wow. Here we go. Yo, now with that push, looks like they heard you, Dave, but they're going to go for these kills.
It's not over.
Rename user taking a lot of damage. One more shot. They'll finish him off. Tasty Pastry, though, is low himself. Lemming Rush looking for that shot. He finds that on Lost That Lovin' feeling, and it's not going to quite finish him off. Fixer on top, 1,100 points of damage, 1,400. Here comes the rest of the tanks. They're just going to keep focusing him. OTC and Bobby have now switched places. Underpants has taken down Fixer Reloaded, and now it is it's actually all 7 on 4. Patience Zero, though, takes down Tasty Pastry, now making a 6-on-4, but Yo, looks like they have this one in the bag. Lemming Rush is in a lot of trouble there on top of the hill. Fulcros taking down 1 OTC. Object 140 fallen there for Color Wanted. The HP is close, but the amount of firepower is not. Yo clearly has the advantage here. Patience Zero and Splash are full health, but I'm not sure that it's going to be able to amount to much, as the rest of the team will have a lot more shots than he does. Up on top of the T-54. Going to jump down, taking a shot in the Lemming. Bobby looks like he wants to finish this one off. Bobby's going to pick that one up. The Object 140 going down, and Yo will be, if it goes according to plan, Yo will be picking up another victory, making it 4-2 against Color Wanted. They've picked up 2 victories now onto Mines, and they're going to be going on the defense. It looks like Yo will be able to clean this one out. Splash being the last one standing for his team. The rest of Color Wanted all wanting a piece before it goes down. Who's it going to go to is the question. It's going to be Fulcros picking that one up. Yo now 4-2 against Color Wanted. Again, now, like I said, going to defense, this is looking very, very good for Yo. David, kind of off that beginning there, you said Color Wanted possibly, they had something there for a moment. What did they need to do that they didn't, which allowed Yo to bring in all those tanks from the back?
If they had been able to delay a little bit longer and finish up the 62A that flanked, because they were going to win that fight.
Okay.
Then they could have potentially dropped down with the IS-7s. If they had gotten a shot on the Object 140s before they drove away, that would have been good. They had position, and most importantly, they needed to keep Yo from pushing through the middle and clearing the middle point. Once they get up and over that hill, the IS-7s dropped into the water are pointless. However, if you can keep them in that general area long enough for the IS-7s to come in behind them, they're not pointless. Most of the heavies, most of the tanks that could have dealt with those IS-7s head-to-head were in a position where they'd take a ton of damage if they crossed to go deal with the water. So they had a lot going for them. They just didn't execute it in the right pacing and well enough.
All right. Well, there we go. That is kind of the breakdown at the end there for you guys. We are going into our next battle. Again, it is Yo versus Color Wanted. Yo just needs one more victory to pick up a win here and to finish the match off. Color Wanted needs to come back they have to win basically the next 3 matches. And that's going to be a tall order because they have to assault on Mines twice. Now, David, before we actually do get into this final one, right in the beginning there, when Yo picked off that T-54 over on the, I believe it was the eastern side.
Delth, yes.
Yeah,
western side.
Western side took down Delth. If you are Color Wanted and you see that tank go down and you know that that side of your map is now lost, you don't have that pressure, you don't have that spotting, do you risk it and immediately push your tanks over because you know a couple are dealing with him over on that side, or do you wait until do what you were talking about?
It depends on the exact layout of tanks in that situation. Generally, pushing across the middle into the north is a very bad thing. But where a lot of Yo's tanks were, Color Wanted had a chance to start moving and making those engagements count for him. Mostly the tanks that get trapped underneath the hill are the risk. If there's nobody there, you never push up the middle, not unless you know where everybody else is and you can deal with them.
All right, well, let's see if Yo can finish this one out. They just need one more victory against Color Wanted. Can they take it? David, what do we got for our tanks?
Yo with 2 E5s, 2 62As, 2 140s, and a 54 lightweight. Color Wanted with 2 E5s, an IS-7, a 62A, 2 140s, and a 54 lightweight.
All right, a different opening here now that we've seen coming out for Color Wanted on offense on Mines. We're seeing a lot of their members over on the western side. as Yo just pushing up the center with everything that they've got. Looks like Color Wanted is heading over to the position down here in the southwest that we've seen a couple tanks get to. Now, if you're Yo and you figure this out, you pick up on this, what is your next move?
Well, you've really got to move and take out that IS-7 for starters, but you got to take the hill and you got to start trying to get additional angles because they've just kind of committed too many tanks. Honestly, it gets kind of difficult to discuss, but Patient Zero is pretty much dead to rights. There's nowhere he can go. There's a 62A that probably can't get away either if Yo knows where he is. He's going to keep progressing from here, but they only have 30 seconds to get back in cap.
That's right, 30 seconds indeed. Color Wanted putting that pressure on. The question is, can you do it in a timely fashion? Lost that 11 feeling is going to take down that IS-7. That's the first tank falling for Color. 25 seconds on the clock. It looks like they have plenty of time here. The shots, though, nice going out for those two E5s onto Ande in the T-54. It looks like they tracked him and almost took him actually out completely, down to 331 points of damage there. No shots going for the resets. The shot just missing over Delph. Yo needs to find this quickly. 22 seconds on the clock. It looks like he's going to be able to Chai Sniper up on top. They're positioning that one. There's a little bit of backing off from Delph. There's a reset, but not on the tank that is on the cap at all. 30 seconds now on the clock. Lemming takes a bounce there. Lost that 11 feeling, actually duking out. Looks like it was Splash over in the back, and Lemming going to take down Ajax there. Two tanks falling, one true, taking down Bobby, and now Yo only have 5 tanks against it. Well, now 5 of Color. Lost taking down Splash. Lemming now, though, pushing onto full. They've got the reset, but Color wanted to see that they might not even need it. They're just going to find the HP lead that they have, plus the damage that they have, and they're going to take down Yo one by one. Rename user taken down Ondipons. Full Cross now going to be surrounded. He should be going down any second. Chai Sniper, there's not much he can do to support his team. OTC coming in at 140 to deal with him. And once Full Cross and Tasty Pastry go down, there is nothing that Yo can do to come back from it. Color Wanted looks like they're going to pick up this victory. 2 kills back to back there going down. And Yo losing on the defensive side onto Mines. You know, possibly just going, hey, we know that that first match that you came out of Mines didn't work out for you because you had 6. We're going to give you this one. Probably not what they're doing. Hopefully that's not what they're doing. Chai Sniper going down. OTC will be able to finish this one off. Can't even keep. Chai Sniper's turret cannot even keep up with this 140. One more shot, and that is going to do it. OTC picking that one up, and now Color Wanted 3-4 against Yo here onto Mines. They're doing their best. They're coming back. One more, and they're going to tie it up. What we saw there, coming out from Color Wanted on offense, something we haven't seen tonight so far on Mines, which is not really any sort of pressure on the hill. Managed to push over on the western side. Yo, was it just they didn't do it quick enough? Was it that they were too spread? Because they committed every single one of their tanks on top of that hill.
I'd have to watch it again, honestly, to be able to detail that a little bit more. Patient Zero just... It seems like he was perhaps a bait tank or something to get the proper angles and view on where the majority of their opponent were going. But really, there was just a whole lot of tanks forcing a lot of pressure. And the initial lineups, the initial layouts of Yo just weren't necessarily in the right places to be able to deal with anything in the West at all. Okay. There's nobody down there in the K line. There was nobody pushing over the 1-2. Now, maybe those are limitations based on tank speed at tier 10, because I'm not super familiar with the times it takes to get out of there. The timing on everything's very different now. Right. But they do have a tier 8 light. They can easily check out to see what's coming there. But everybody's just overweighting the middle, expecting a hard middle fight. And when they don't get it, they don't seem to have an answer for something else. Right. Or at least in this case, they didn't seem to have an answer. It's like, okay, we're going to have a fight in the middle, and if we don't have that, I don't know necessarily where we're going to go.
We talked about those multiple steps to plan to these, once you get into the pro leagues that you need to have, kind of going back, just backtracking onto Runeberg, getting flanked from the back. I mean, in a lot of matches, it's like, the reason that would work is because the team is not going to notice the overmatch that they have and push it immediately. Those track shots become more important. Just so much more little things that can add up and really sway one side of the battle to the other. Ladies and gentlemen, we're into our next one. Yo versus Color Wanted. If Color Wanted could take this, they're going to tie it up 4-4. Yo just needs to pick up this victory on defense, and they're going to end this match. Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
Yo with 2 E5s, 2 62As, 2 140s, and T54 lightweight. Keeping it nice and easy to read. Color Wanted with 2 E5s, 9-7, 2 140s, 2 T54 lightweights themselves. Yeah. That is... Actually, no, those are not lightweights. Those are regular. 2 T54s. It would be very very dumb to bring 2 lightweights
Okay.
in any situation in this format.
Is that something you can say with confidence?
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of the few things where I'm like, yup, that was just a bad idea.
Not good.
But 2 T-54s regular style are just fine. A huge push coming out from Caller Wanted.
Oh!
Stalling a little bit on the edge of the hill.
Backing up
A lot of momentum to stall out there.
Take a shot onto Tasty Pastry. Now looking at like they're going for that center rock push. Chai Sniper taking a couple shots and actually nothing connecting on him. Looks like one bounce, the other one just missing there. A little more damage. We're going to rename user in that T-54. Let's see who's going to come on top. The battle on top of the hill has begun, ladies and gentlemen. Who is going to come on top? Will it be Yo? Will it be Caller Wanted? Caller Wanted is in the lead as far as HP goes, but that could sway at any moment. A lot of damage going on. It looks like that was the call for Yo to just send everything that they had in. Bobby, 1,200 points of damage there in that 62A, just trying to get up and to get in a safe position, but he is not safe from OTC. OTC taking Bobby down, and now Yo, extremely low there, almost at over 5,000 points of HP against Caller Wanted. Fulcros taking rename user down. Caller Wanted doing their best to try to close this one out quickly. Patient Zero taking down Tasty Pastry. Lost that lovin' feeling, is just sitting in the back of that 62A, doing his best to find the shots where he can. Fulcros taking out Fixer, reloaded. Yo doing as much as they can to try to stay in this, but it looks hopeless because Caller Wanted is absolutely dominating this match. Delph taking down Chai. Yo is going down, and that is going to be Caller Wanted tying this one up. Fulcros finds Delph, but it's not going to matter. Splash taking out Fulcros. Onto Ponce, the last one. Splash is going to finish him off. That's a double kill there, and Caller Wanted has tied this up 4-4 onto Mines against Yo. That was over, David, very quickly. That was a very aggressive push. And we talked about how Caller Wanted had a lot of momentum going to the hill and then stopped. Now, generally, is that generally a bad thing? Is that generally is that okay thing to do? It depends on the situation.
At Tier 8, it can definitely be a bad thing just due to the hit points involved. At Tier 10, it's not that big of a deal, especially when you have 2 E5s already rolling to get there. So basically, they were like, well, nobody here immediately. We can wait for a second. We don't need to cross hill and get lit up by all their tanks waiting. Now we have the middle completely. Our heavies are here, and we can just fight them in an unfair match.
Yeah.
That's what they did, and they won. And it sounds like Caller Wanted got to choose the side.
There we go.
I believe for the second time. Huh?
That's
twice.
That is 2 in a row there. Good for them.
Twice.
Doing a good job picking that there. Another thing, kind of just want to point it out there. At the end, we had kind of a rush move from Yo. I think I didn't know who was driving it. The T62A, I believe. He decided to push up, try to get into a safe position behind a rock, but he just got lit up. I mean, that rush forward. My question is, why did he do that? Was that if he got there and was safe, would that have been an amazing turning position, or was like
I didn't have a good enough angle on it to really tell you what the intent was at that moment.
Cool. It just seemed kind of like that E50 sacrifice that we saw before.
The E5 sacrifice, push him in the middle.
Yeah.
Again, didn't have a good enough angle on it to really comment. All I can tell you is that basically once Yo, losing my mind here. Once both teams met middle, people in the north had better positions.
Sure.
It was pretty over.
Yeah, pretty over indeed. Now, it is going to be, we're kind of, figuring out this format as we go. Will it be a slower style of play because, the tanks are not quite as fast? Will it be still rush? You kind of touched on how, it doesn't really matter what they're, the actual tanks they're playing is because the general play of the map is still the same. The general setup of where positions are still the same, and we're seeing that on Mines. Mines still a fast map as always.
At least in the beginning, yeah. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, well, I was going to say.
Yeah, at least in the beginning, and it probably holds true. I mean, I've seen a number of formats, all sorts of tiers. And honestly, half the stuff that we started doing in WGLNA to begin with, we just pulled out of Clan Wars. And a lot of stuff that's been happening in both sides. Clan Wars is played very similar, and it just mostly is like you look at the map, you read it, you figure things out, and a lot of things hold true side to side. There's a lot of gimmick stuff that floats around that changes based on tier and the exact format of whatever you're playing. But for the most part, on Mines, you got to take hill, and if you don't take hill, you got to work the west or the east side.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
fundamentals.
That's what the map tells you to do. Yeah. So you do it.
I was also kind of bringing up, you were talking about the funny things that kind of happened during the Pacific Rumble. We saw that weird position here on Mines that I've never seen before. He went up, we had a member go down to like the J0 mountain, got boosted up there.
Billy goating positions, yeah.
Oh, insane. Well, we haven't seen that yet, but we might see it right now because, ladies and gentlemen, we are into the battle. Yo versus Caller Wanted. It's all tied up. Caller Wanted has chosen defense. Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
For Caller Wanted, 2 E5s. Making sure. No, I think I've got it backwards. I do have it backwards. For Yo, 2 E5s, 2 IS7s, a 62A, an Object 140, and a T54 lightweight. And for Caller Wanted, 2 E5s, an IS7, 2 140s, and a T54, and a T30. Again with a T30, which last time I saw it, I did like. But I didn't actually get to see it really get to work that much. But if you're not familiar with the T30, it's basically like the T32 from Tier 8.
Okay.
Except it has a very big gun on it.
Great.
And
Sounds
does
good so far.
a lot of damage in one shot. But it is also very difficult to penetrate. If it is looking at you hull down, it's easier than a 32. But in this map, you get in the right places.
All right, well, here we go. A little bit of a fight now going up on top of the hill. But looks like Caller Wanted is doing exactly what they did in the last match, which was just set up over and be a lot more spread defense down on the southern angle. Again, it is up to Yo to push. So, David, where they are set up here, they're actually running the same setup, the two 140s, the T4 and the T30. At Delph driving that one. Now, again, if you are Yo, you're on top of the hill right now, you're committing. It's still, there's still 650 seconds. Do you, A, push over and try to get even further up on the hill, B, back off, go around and try to hit from the cap over on the eastern side, or, maybe mix it up and go for the west? Like, what if you were Yo, what would you be telling your team?
I don't think they've necessarily gotten enough information to make that decision properly, but if they were able to see where Caller Wanted was right now, then they would be the east side, which is what they're doing.
Okay.
So,
there they go.
It's a little bit dicey, but it's certainly not the west, I'll tell you that.
Well, let's see if they go. Here comes Bobby, Tasty Pastry, and Adepan's T54, Object 140, and a 62A crashing down on the members of Caller Wanted's defense. Can it be successful? It was not successful last time for TBD. Will Caller Wanted be able to hold again? A lot of damage there coming back, firing onto the members of Caller Wanted that are on top of the hill. And OTC now has to come around the side and do some damage here. Fix and reload, getting extremely low, 768 points of damage. Rename user might be going down, but Splash is the first one to find Shy Sniper. The E5 going down. Rename user taking out Underpants. Tasty Pastry and Bobby, 2 kills on both sides, 2 for 2 exchange. Yo, though, has come out a little less healthy on that. Caller Wanted still 8,500 points of HP there. Bobby now pressuring OTC in that 140 as long as Tasty Pastry. Splash still very, very healthy, doing his best to come over and help his teammate out. Delph in that T30 staying back in that tank destroyer. Can't wait to see how much damage he can pump out there. Lost that Lemming Feeling might be the one on the receiving end of that. Lemming Rush taking some damage as well there. Patient Zero still on that I7 at full health on top of that hill. Here back in the spawn, Bobby and Tasty against Splash and OTC. A great call from Splash to come back and help his teammate, because it looks like they're going to be able to pick this one out. It looks like they're going to be able to win, and Caller Wanted is going to, my chance he is. Anything can happen as Bobby takes down Splash. OTC going for the ram, not quite enough damage there, and Bobby is going to take down OTC. Delph, though, lost that love and feeling. The T30 taking down that IS7. Patient Zero taking a lot of damage, though. Lemming Rush taking full cross the E5 out of this fight. Yo with 1,500 points of damage, or 50 points of HP spread across 3 members. Caller Wanted 28 spread across 3 members. Delph still full health in that T30. But David, looking at that tank destroyer, I mean, how many shots can that take before it goes down?
Well, it depends on what tank is shooting it, but I would say 6.
Okay, wow. So, so it can stay alive for a while.
5 and 8, maybe.
All right, so it's not nearly as squishy as a waffle or anything.
No. It has 1650 hit points. It's a tier higher than the Borsig, as we saw before. I'm gonna have to get away from calling that thing the waffle, because there is 2 other things that could technically be called waffles. But we will eventually see the WE100, which, as I've been told, is quite the official waffle.
Okay.
Depending on who you are, we're gonna go with it.
Here we go. Tasty Pastry actually going for the Eastern cap, putting some pressure on, just trying to draw Caller Wanted out. I mean, they've got to do something here. 3 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock.
You can just send Lemming Rush around, and he can 1v1 him IRL. There is a chance that Tasty Pastry can beat him head-to-head. A good chance, actually. But it really depends. If Delph can get in a position where he can spot Tasty Pastry, he doesn't have to hit him. But if he spots him before Lemming Rush shows up, Lemming Rush will take him out. GG easy. But Delph's making some strong moves here. He's going to have Bobby dead to rights any second now, or he can choose to turn and deal with Ajax. His moves right now, nobody can contest him, and he's going to solve this entire problem unless he really messes up.
just moving in, taking the whole team on his shoulders, saying, I got this, let's go. Lemming Rush and the T-54 coming around the side, looking for Tasty Pastry, one more shot. You know, I guess for either, really for either of them. Bobby and Ajax slowly approaching. No! Delph taking Bobby down. Tasty Pastry takes the shot onto Delph, which means he is spotted, which means Lemming should be able to come around this corner and take down this 140. 43 seconds now on the clock. The shot actually looks like it might have bounced there or hit a track or something, but it's going to allow Tasty Pastry to make his way out. Again, Caller Wanted is on the defending side. Lemming Rush and the T-54 taking him down, and that should seal the deal. That is going to be Caller Wanted picking up this victory. Delph take it down. Ajax, Caller Wanted picking up 2 victories in a row, making their way up that ladder. Congratulations to them. On to Mines, no less. And a fantastic display at the end there indeed. A great setup. They got to choose twice what they want to do with the tiebreaker. They chose defense. Very smart of them. They had a very nice spread, and they executed it. They executed well.
Indeed.
Great.
No more.
Whoa.
You covered it, man.
I did it.
There's nothing more to say.
I did it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for our 3rd match. Up next, our 4th and final match. Well, actually, potentially 4th and final match. We might have a 5th one in store for you guys, but there's only one way to find out, and that is to come right back here after this short break.